Okay, I'm going to attempt to show you some mosses and ferns today outside that you can possibly find around your own home, wherever you are. This, I think, is one of the haircap mosses. So remember, in a moss, the fuzzy green part is the gametophyte. It's producing the gametes, sperm and eggs, which then, through fertilization, produce the embryo, which grows into the sporophyte, which is the stalk and capsule part that grows out of the gametophyte. And the spores are being produced in this capsule up on top, and they will be released and disperse through the air to grow into new gametophytes. So this is one type of moss. I'll see if I can find some others. This one I'm pretty sure is red roof moss. You can see how it's more red in color. It also is growing its sporophyte, is mostly what you're seeing. Way down towards the ground is the gametophyte. It's very low growing in the gametophyte form, but it's producing its stalk and capsule where it will release spores. And then over next to it, we also have what I'm pretty sure is spear moss, this yellowish color. It's not producing sporophytes at the moment, so it's just the gametophyte, but growing in amongst all the other grass here. And here I think we have one of the other kinds of haircap moss. I think this is the juniper's haircap moss. But again, you can see the fuzzy green part is the gametophyte. The stalk and capsule is the sporophyte. All right, here we have a couple of ferns. First is the sword fern. Polystichum munitum is a very common fern in our area, and it's an evergreen fern, so it stays green all year round. And you can see it here. It's got the frond, which is part of, or has this, the stalk and the blade that make up the frond. And each of the pinnae is one section of this whole leaf. And then on the back sides of the leaves is where you will normally find the spores, the little brown dots. Get a better focus here. And so this is the sporophyte part of the life cycle. It's producing the spores. And those spores will disperse and grow into new tiny little gametophytes. The gametophyte part, though, you don't hardly ever see. It's very small, about the size of your fingernail, and would be just on the surface of the ground or right underneath the surface of the ground. We also have a couple of fiddleheads of the new fronds that are unfurling here. So when they're still curled up, you can see them. There it is. Uncurling. That's the fiddlehead. A couple more down in here. Shades a little bit getting on them. And right here you can see another one of our common ferns. This is bracken fern, Pteridium aquilinum. It's the scientific name. You can see it's much more branched than the sword fern. It's also not evergreen. It's just now uncurling. All of its leaves are uncurling. It dies down during the winter. But you can see the additional branching of the pinnae that occurs on the bracken fern. So this is all one frond that continuously branches in the bracken fern. And here's some of those that are just still uncurling from the fiddlehead. All right, here's one other fern that's just unfurling. I think this is actually cinnamon fern, but it's very similar to a native fern we have called lady fern. And you can see it's sort of very delicate texture on the pinnae of the frond. And again, this one is just uncurling, so you can see the fiddleheads. Doesn't have spores yet because it's just growing, but it'll produce spores on the backs of the leaves as well. All right, here's another seedless vascular plant. This is horsetail, or Equisetum arvense. Early in the spring, it puts up its spore-producing stalk, which is this browner looking one, and you can see the spore strobilus up on the tip there. So this is the sporophyte producing spores. Its photosynthetic leaves come up a little bit later, so they're just starting down here. And these are very interesting because they have a jointed stem that sort of pops apart at the joints. Well, that didn't work. I'm not going to be able to show you, but maybe you'll find some that you can pop apart. And these will lengthen, and it will be a very scour brush looking type of structure that is recognizable as the horsetail.